Welcome to Grammar Lesson 2, everybody. This week we're looking at writing effective sentences. When we write, we want to have writing that flows. Our goal is to communicate ideas. Therefore, we need to be clear, effective, and interesting. Short sentences can be effective, but it can create a feeling of choppiness to the writing. So let's look at this example. A geyser is a spring. A geyser shoots hot water into the air with great force. Some geysers erupt continually. Some geysers remain inactive for long periods. The water seeps into the Earth's surface through cracks. The water expands into steam when it reaches extremely hot rocks. Okay, so we're going to evaluate this. And we say, okay, it is effective. It communicates idea about the geysers. But it certainly is not very smooth. So, to create writing that is both effective and smooth, a writer must combine sentences and pay attention to his or her writing style. So these are the two things that we're really going to look at this week: how to combine sentences and how to improve writing style. So first, let's look at combining sentences. Sentence combining is a way to improve choppy writing. This week we're going to study 5 ways to combine sentences: inserting words, inserting phrases, using compound subjects and verbs, creating compound sentences, and creating complex sentences. So let's go ahead and look at combining sentences by inserting words. You can combine short sentences by taking one word from one sentence and inserting it into the next sentence. You'll find that you can do this by keeping the same form or by changing the form. So let's look at 2 examples, one where we keep the same form. Our original sentences are: Andrew Lloyd Webber composed the music for several Broadway musicals, and the musicals were popular. Our revised sentence: Andrew Lloyd Webber composed the music for several popular Broadway musicals. So in our second sentence where we've combined them, we're taking the word popular from one sentence and inserting it into the first so that we have a combined sentence. So instead of the 2 short, choppy sentences, we have one longer sentence that flows a little bit more. Second example, we're changing the form in this one. Lloyd Webber is best known for his melodic scores, and the scores flowed. So let's look at how this one's combined. Lloyd Webber is best known for his flowing melodic scores. So now notice in our combined sentence, we've taken the verb from the second sentence, changed it into a gerund, which then modifies melodic. So we've combined them into one sentence. So you can take a word from one of your sentences and insert it into the other sentence. You can either keep the form or change the form. That's method number 1. The second method is to insert phrases. You can also combine closely related sentences by reducing one sentence to a phrase and inserting it into the other sentence. The added sentence will give information to the idea expressed in the sentence. So let's look at a couple of examples here. Our original 2 sentences: Great Salt Lake is an inland body of salt water. The lake is in northwestern Utah. Okay, so we're going to combine these 2 sentences. So let's take the prepositional phrase from the second one, in northwestern Utah, and insert it into the first one. So our revised sentence would read: Great Salt Lake is an inland body of salt water in northwestern Utah. We've combined them by inserting a prepositional phrase. Our second example: Juanita Puerto describes the conflict between old and new ideas. She does this as she writes about Navajo culture. Okay, now in this one, we're going to take the phrase writes about Navajo culture, turn it into a participial phrase writing about Navajo culture and make it subordinate to the first one. So let's look at a revised sentence. Writing about Navajo culture, Juanita Puerto describes the conflict between old and new ideas. So in this one, we've inserted a participial phrase. And our last example, Neil Armstrong is best known for his historic first steps on the moon. And Neil Armstrong is a former U.S. astronaut. So in this case, we're going to take the appositive phrase, a former U.S. astronaut, use it to modify Neil Armstrong, and put it into our revised sentence. So our revised sentence reads, Neil Armstrong, a former U.S. astronaut, is best known for his historic first steps on the moon. Okay, so inserting phrases within a sentence, taking one phrase from one sentence and inserting it into another sentence is our second method for combining sentences. Our third method is to use compound subjects and verbs. You can also combine sentences by using compound subjects and verbs. There's two conditions with this though. Your two sentences must have the same subjects or the same verb, and you must use a coordinating conjunction, but, and, for, nor, or, so, or yet to do this. So let's look at a couple of examples. Our first one is going to have compound subjects, but the same verb. Okay, so jaguars are large spotted cats. Leopards are large spotted cats. Notice we have two different subjects, but we have the same verb. So we combine them into a revised sentence. Jaguars and leopards are large spotted cats. In our second example, we have the same subjects but different verbs. So let's look. Jaguars live in America. Jaguars hunt in America. Our revised sentence is jaguars live and hunt in America. Our third example has both compound subject and a compound verb. So jaguars hunt and attack other animals. Leopards hunt and attack other animals. These cats rarely attack humans. So we have three sentences here. Let's look at how they're revised and put together. Jaguars and leopards hunt and attack other animals, but rarely attack humans. So our compound subjects are put together with a conjunction and. Our compound verbs are put together with a conjunction and. And then we have a subordinating clause put on there with a coordinating conjunction but. So in this way we have all three short sentences that are rather choppy turned into one longer sentence that's smoother. Okay, so we've had inserting a word, inserting a phrase, and this one, our third one, was using compound subjects and verbs. Our fourth way to combine sentences is to create compound sentences. If the thoughts of your two sentences are equal, this is really important, they're equal ideas, you can combine them into a compound sentence. A compound sentence is two independent clauses joined by a comma and a coordinating conjunction, a semicolon, or a semicolon and a conjunctive adverb. So let's look at some examples. Our original sentences are, veins carry blood to the heart, arteries carry blood away from the heart. Okay, so to revise these, we have three ways we can do it. The first is with a comma and a coordinating conjunction, and it would be veins carry blood to the heart, comma, but arteries carry blood away from the heart. Our second method to combine compound sentences is with the use of a semicolon. Veins carry blood to the heart, semicolon, arteries carry blood away from the heart. And the third method to combine compound sentences is a semicolon and a conjunctive adverb with another comma. Don't forget the comma. So veins carry blood to the heart, semicolon. However, comma, arteries carry blood away from the heart. So our fourth way to combine sentences is to create compound sentences. And our last way to combine sentences is to create complex sentences. Now, if you are going to create a compound sentence, you have to have ideas in your sentences that are not equal, because one has to be subordinate to the other. And that's really important. When you do compound sentences, they're equal. When you do complex sentences, they're not equal. One idea is subordinate to the other. So if two sentences are unequal in importance, you can combine them into a complex sentence. Just turn the less important idea into a subordinate clause and attach it to the other sentence as an independent clause, or the other sentence, which is an independent clause. So let's look at some examples. Our original sentences. Christopher Columbus noted the unusual quality of floating seaweed. He crossed the Sargasso Sea. Okay, two ideas. Now we're going to take our second one and our second sentence and make it an adjective clause describing Christopher Columbus. So our revised sentence is, Christopher Columbus, who crossed the Sargasso Sea, noted the unusual quality of floating seaweed. Let's look at another example. Sailors used to fear the Sargasso Sea, and they heard strange tales about it. Okay, now we're going to turn our second sentence into an adverb clause with the word because, the subordinating conjunction because. So our sentence would read, because they heard strange tales about it, sailors used to fear the Sargasso Sea. And the last example is, someone will arrive first, that person will get the best seat. And we are going to turn our first sentence into a noun clause. So we say, whoever arrives first will get the best seat. So we have 5 ways of combining sentences. We had inserting words, inserting phrases, compound subjects and verbs, compound sentence, create a compound sentence, create a complex sentence.